Bingo! Fellas Ain't Failure Podcast. We are back in the building. This is your boy, Coach Chuck, the podcast pastor. And listen, I got a special treat for y'all today. We have the beautiful, the talented, the expanded, and I don't want to get too much into it because I'm going to let her open it up. But we got Miss Natasha Goodley in the house today. That's too far for me. Yeah, you stretching me over here. Natasha. It's so great to have you in the building today. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much for coming. See, we gonna get right to the chase in here. So I want to talk about, so just so our audience understands that you and I met last Thursday at the expungence workshop.
Yes.
Can I call it a workshop? That took place at Mount Zion. Beautiful thing. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. More people should have been in the building.
Absolutely.
Because as I talked to one of the lawyers, one of the misinformation that I have being a felon and being in the streets that it's communicated among us that if you got one felony, you can get that expunged. Never knew that there was a window that even those felonies had to fall into. That all felonies are not expungible. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I never knew that. We go around talking, if you just got one, get it expunged, then you go to get it expunged and you find out you can't. Right. And it becomes disheartening. So when it does come back on, even for people who may have multiple felons, I think it's important that we come out and learn and get the information on exactly what the expungence process is. Because as we believe here, in order to properly fight this battle, we need to know who we're fighting. We need to know what we're fighting. And it's impossible for us to understand the oppression, the system and everything that we fight if we don't even know what it look like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to take a look at, we have to break down, kind of like if you fighting Goliath, you fighting a giant in football, we tell them if the guy bigger than you, you hit him low, you break him down. And information enables us to be able to break down that giant that we're trying to fight in our community among disenfranchised communities, not just black folk, brown, white folk, anybody that's disenfranchised. Because we're here for everybody who needs to be elevated, impacted, motivated, and given opportunities to live the life that they were meant to live.
Absolutely. And nothing beats a failure but a try. So the only way you're going to know if your felonies qualify, if you can do it, is to try. Just come out to those events, speak to one of those attorneys. It's all free, and find out. Don't try to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Find out. Listen, so I want to begin to talk about Operation New Hope. And I'm going to tell you how I came in contact. There's a friend of mine. She's been a lifetime family friend, knew me since I was a little boy. She called me and asked me to come to this particular program that I allow you to talk about. And at the graduation, allow me to speak a few minutes just to maybe encourage and motivate those individuals that are successfully coming through your program. So she gave me the information, told me where it was at, and I knew nothing about it. Listen, I'm a felon, have efforts, and we have programs and stuff that we're building for felons and people who need a second chance at life. And here is a program right up under my nose that I never even heard of. You understand what I'm saying? Because we talk about people coming out of prison, rehabilitation, and we put so much because when we're looking for something to blame, we put so much attention on how the prison system should be rehabilitating them, but the real rehabilitation begins the day you step out of prison.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love most about this program, that it picked up where the prison system left off, which was the most important part. So tell us about what do you do here? Tell us about the organization, the program, how you get involved and things like that. Introduce it to our audience.
So Operation New Hope has been around for about 26 years. It was founded in Jacksonville, Florida. And from Jacksonville, we expanded to Orlando, Space Coast, Tampa, and now St. Pete. Tampa and St. Pete opened at the same time, the end of July of last year. So that's why in this area, many people haven't heard of Operation New Hope. But we are a reentry program, ready for work, complete wraparound services for individuals who are justice impacted. And when I say justice impacted, I mean you've been to jail, you've been to prison, you've been arrested, any of that. We help and assist you with finding work. During the process, we know that part of when you're released, you have so many problems. It's not just, oh, I need a job, because I don't have a place, I don't have anywhere to get to the job. I don't have a place to stay. I don't have vital records and documents because maybe I went to jail. I was in Pensacola, but my family was living in Miami and they moved, and now I don't have my birth certificate. I don't have any of those documents. So there's so many barriers when you're released. And so what we've done is try to remove every last one of those barriers. If you come into our program, we find transitional housing for you. We give you bus passes. You are instantly matched with a case manager. The case manager orders all your vital records, your documents that you
Mm.
need. If we can get your driver license back, we work on that. But for many people, they don't even know what they need to do to get their license back. So then we can at least find that information out. Your back child support, what can we do to maybe get you on a payment plan? Do what you can, because so many jobs require a driver license.
Correct.
So we help in that area. We put you through 3 weeks of job readiness training that includes emotional intelligence, mock interviews. We help you create a resume, a LinkedIn profile. We put you in contact with a mental health therapist who works with you from the beginning. Because unfortunately, if you didn't have a mental illness when you went to before you went to prison, you have one when you come out.
Exactly.
And so it needs to be, we need to help you. We need to treat it. And for individuals who spent long periods of times in the hole, schizophrenia, psychotic. I mean, there's so much that could be there, and that has to be treated before you can actually go and work a job. So we have to diagnose it, get you with a psychiatrist, help you get the meds you need. And then after all of that, we get you with our job coach. And now if we need to put you in vocational training, we do that. And we help find you a job. And the idea is not to just find you any job. It's to find you something that matches with your skills, but also with where you are right now. Because some people just aren't in the place to work around a lot of people. They're still kind of institutionalized. And so we need to find you a job where you might work solo. Maybe you're just in the back washing dishes. No one's around you. That's what you need right now until you become more socialized. And now you could be a bar back. Now you could be up front with everyone. So we try to meet you where you're at, but to help you find a job that pays a living wage. And so, I mean,
You got me.
it's awesome.
You got me turning because you said already. Just if we stop this show right here, you said something very powerful. Because even being that we're about felons, me being a felon, I have a lot of people that come up to me and like, man, we need to get jobs. We need to get jobs. But sometimes to get out of prison and to thrust certain individuals into certain jobs is putting the cart before the horse. You said, and we have a show on emotional intelligence, but you said that you guys train them and deal with them on being emotionally intelligent because in prison, there is because I've been there is an emotional adjustment you have to make that affects the sensitivity that you have, the emotional sensitivity that you have, because you're away from family, you're away from your kids, you're away from your mother, you're away from people you love, things you like. And so you have to emotionally adjust yourself to be in there.
Right.
Not to mention, as you talked about being in that hole, that schizophrenic, because you end up by yourself.
Right.
And you find somebody to talk to, which is only you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, but the emotional adjustment that's made to survive in prison, and then we get released and we neglect to emotionally readjust back to society. And that is powerful that we have to understand as felons and those who support the felons that prior to getting some jobs, there needs to be some work done on our emotional adjustment. I use a different word, but that's exactly what you said. And that is powerful. Because to not emotionally adjust and then go get hired, you're probably not going to stay on that job.
Absolutely.
Because you'll be on that job in survival mode, in rebellion mode in your spirit, and you won't thrive because you won't contribute to the overall big picture of that job because you only think about how am I going to survive and make it here.
And
Let's
you
go.
make it harder for the next felon behind you because now the company's like, I took a chance, hired this guy out of prison. He wasn't ready. He was doing all this. I don't know if I want to do that
Ain't fooling
again.
with no more. We tried it once.
So
We
now you
tried
make it
once.
harder for everyone else coming behind you. So when we place individuals, we make certain we're placing you correct.
That's right.
Because when we come with the next person to get them a job, we want the company to say, absolutely, you brought this person, he was a great worker, he did everything we need, bring us more. So we have to make certain that we're putting you in a place where you can thrive.
And what's powerful about that, we were just in Lakeland last weekend. I'm talking to Lopez, our chubby Quincy Jones. We were just in Lakeland last weekend, and there was a guy. I got his car. There was a guy. They own this big corporation out of Jacksonville or somewhere, and he came to me. He was talking about how needful what I'm doing is, and that that for the first time in the history of their company, they took a chance on hiring a felon. He said, and this felon turned out to be the best hire that they've ever had. That they send this guy, fly him around the country, because he was flown somewhere for a meeting. They fly him around the country to represent a felon the first time. So as a result, he's asking me, how can you send me more
Absolutely.
of them?
Absolutely.
And you said that's what you guys focus. That's what y'all create. And I think that is so powerful, man, that you guys create models. You know what I'm saying? Because like you say, people look and they think because I sold dope that I can't be trusted. You know what I'm saying? They think because I did this, I did that, like I'm no good. When really that's not the case. That if I'm properly rehabbed, if I have emotionally adjusted back to society, to be able to be empathetic, deal with people and things like that, I can be the best employee your company has ever seen.
Absolutely.
And y'all want to make sure that's what y'all putting out.
Right. And we make certain we advise our clients, look, you may have the skills before you went into prison, you were at this level. But now you have to prove yourself. So we're going to have to get you in the door, starting at the bottom, let them gain your trust, especially if it was a crime against dishonesty.
Okay.
If it was fraud, theft, any of that, we got to get you in at the bottom, let you prove yourself to this company. And once you do that, now you can move up. So it's also adjusting them, letting them know, hey, I understand you didn't work for less than this prior.
Right.
You didn't have a position like this prior to this, but we have to start you somewhere, and you're going to have to show this company I can be trusted.
And see, it's like just this conversation with you is inspiring to me, and it has even expanded what I do here because me being in prison, because I'm always make reference to that to validate that I can talk about this. I've been there with guys who've been there so long that they don't have a birth certificate, they don't have this, and they don't know how to use a computer to
Right.
get out and get that stuff. And I heard you say, y'all help with people get these vital statistics because it is necessary to get a driver license. You need your birth certificate, even a GED because like I also work for the city and there are people come there and part of the requirement is you have to provide your GED or your high school diploma. And a lot of people come there and don't know how to find it.
Right.
And you guys help out with that kind of stuff.
And 3 weeks of the 3 weeks of training, 1 week of that is on computers. So you spend 1 week learning how to use the computer, how can you search for jobs on Indeed, how to do applications online. So 1 week of technology because we understand so many people, if you've been in prison for 37 years, you haven't touched a computer. And if you did, that computer was the size of this room. It wasn't the same thing. So you have no idea where to even start, even with smartphones, because we do help them through their insurance get phones.
Okay.
So even with that, many of them don't know how to work a smartphone. When they went in, if there was a cell phone, it was like the little Nokia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had to, when you text, you had to hit the button 3 times to get certain letters or 2 times. That's what they know. Now having a screen with no buttons and I just touch it and now it works. So we have to train them on that as well because that's where you're going to be getting your job announcements. If the job wants to do a second interview, they're going to email you. You're going to have to check your email on your phone because you don't have a computer. You know, you're living in a transitional house. So we got to show you how to be able to do that so that you are equipped to be able to get the job.
And don't miss the opportunity.
Absolutely.
When it knocks at your door.
Absolutely.
And that's key that you said that because a lot of people feel like I already know how to do that. And they don't understand that they are still limited in them doing so, that you can always be elevated. Prime example, I have a mentor, and part of the mentoring that she does is she's teaching me how to, on a higher level, deal with this chat GPT 4.0 stuff. Because you know what I'm saying, I'm thinking, like most people treat it like Google, hey, write me a curriculum on how to bake a cake, and it'll do it for you. And something as simple as I was taught she's been teaching me, when you start that off, say, hey, you are an accountant. Give it a position, and it begins to think along the mindset of an accountant as it gives you, you know what I'm saying? So just like I thought I knew enough, and now I know I call chat what I wanted to be an expert at, and it gives me a completely different level of information because I have just made it a chef. Now it gives me the best recipe to bake a cake. You know, and I say that to say because just because you think you know enough, there's always more that you can learn, and upon learning it, you become more effective. So we don't have to really sell, because I almost want to sign up for this program. But I want to real quick just talk about, are there any qualifications, like who's qualified? Do you have to be coming from being incarcerated? Can someone off the street be a part of this program? What do they have to do? We're going to put all the information at the bottom of the screen, so don't have to worry about that. She's going to talk about it. She don't have to say the website. We're going to put everything at the bottom of the screen. I mean, you got to watch it all the way to the end, and all the contact information to be there. But just qualifications, who can, who can't become a part of this program, and use those 3 weeks to position them to change their life.
So you have to have been justice impacted within the state of Florida.
Okay.
So
Explain justice impacted, because some may not know.
Right. But you had to have been to jail or prison or been arrested in the state of Florida. You do not have to be out for a certain amount of time. In the past, it was that you had to come to us within a year of your release. Now it could be anything. You could have a charge from 1970 and you qualify for the program.
Let's go.
Because, listen, my grandmother was a firecracker. She had a felony when she was 35, and when she was 85, she could not go into the retirement home because she was a convicted felon, and she was blind in one eye, and we couldn't even put her in the home, and that's in South Carolina.
Wow.
So understand, at any point, you can come in. We take any charge. The only one we don't take are individuals who are registered sex offenders.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, come to us. You'll hear some people say, well, habitual violent offenders, we don't, but that's not accurate. We staff it.
Okay.
And what I mean by staffing it is we all sit down, we go through your charges, we go through your court records, documents, police reports, because we break it down. Because just because you were charged with kidnapping, that sounds horrendous. But when we look at it and we see you had somebody in your car, they said, let me out. You said no. You kept driving 2 blocks. Now you got a kidnapping charge.
I got a kidnapping charge.
Now it doesn't sound as bad as you actually abducted someone, duct taped them, had their hands behind their back, and they was in a closet for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but
you know
that's
about
what
that?
people think when you hear kidnapping. So we actually look at all the charges, because many times it's not what it is. Many times. And so once we get a chance to do a deep dive, we can say, hey, is this person rehabilitated? Have they done anger management? Were most of their crimes committed when they were on some type of substance? Was alcohol a problem for them? Was meth a problem for them? And that's when they committed crimes. Well, then that means if we can help you get sober, then you'll be functional.
That's right.
We can assist you. So even if you're a habitual violent offender, come. Let us look into your charges and see if you still can qualify for the program. That's it. I mean,
Any age requirement?
you have to be an adult. So just
Okay,
over
18 or older. Okay.
18 or older.
So
And
now,
ready for work.
Ready
now,
for work.
you have to
Yeah.
be ready for work. You have to be ready for work. If you don't have the mindset that I'm trying to get a job and work, it's not the program for you, because we do offer housing, we do offer bus passes, but that is to assist you with getting work.
Correct.
So
be ready for external work and internal work. As
Absolutely.
we talked about, the emotional adjustment that's going to have to be made. So all of my felons, and I love this, whether you're not a felon, but you've had a run-in with the law, you've been arrested, and you're still running in place to get your life going, check out this program. Like you say, like she says, it'll put you in position to begin your journey to living the life that you desire to have for yourself. So that's great. I love that. But now I want to shift a little bit. For a few minutes, I want the audience to know who you are, because you said one key thing, and I know some people they slick. They say, well, this just started in July of last year. So what was she doing before then? So I was looking at something, and no secret, I kind of asked you off camera, and I want you to talk about it, that you're Natasha Goodley. Behind your name, it has a JD. So tell us what that stands for and what that is.
The JD stands for Juris Doctorate. That's what brought me to Florida because I'm originally from South Carolina. So I am a lawyer. I went to Stetson University College of Law here in St. Pete. St.
Shout out to
Pete,
Stetson.
that's right.
St. Pete in the house.
St. Pete is I call it my first Florida home because this is where I moved to when I moved to Florida in 2002.
You moved to the right place because we needed you here. Go ahead, though.
So prior to coming to Operation New Hope, and at Operation New Hope, I'm the regional director. So I'm over the St. Pete site as well as the Tampa site. My office is out of Tampa, but I come back and forth between Tampa and St. Pete. Prior to coming to Operation New Hope, because we, again, as I said, we started in July, I was self-employed. So I've been self-employed for 11 years now.
All right.
Um,
Shout out for entrepreneurship.
Yes, I have my own businesses. I do business consulting.
Businesses.
Yes.
Catch that. Let's go.
Business consulting, political consulting, and then I have a property management arm. I have properties in Florida and South Carolina, and then I also manage properties for like family and friends as
Okay.
well in different states. So I did that for 11 years. Prior to that, I was actually in higher education. So I segued from law into higher education. I worked for Barry University down in Miami.
Shout out to Barry.
We had a Tampa location. So I was over the Tampa location and I taught college for 5.5 years and ran that and then eventually helped to assist with their Pinellas location.
Okay. Yeah, shout out to Barry, a childhood friend of mine, Marcus Tampa. Went to that school and graduated from Barry. So I heard you say that one of your endeavors is a business consultant. So kind of build that out a little bit because we push entrepreneurship and we have people who have businesses. Just kind of what type of business consulting do you do? Like, is it just in general any kind of business? Do you help them develop business plan? Like, what is it that you consult? And is there a specific niche of business? Kind of talk about your business consulting for our entrepreneurs, our future entrepreneurs.
So it
that's
started
watching.
off right out of law school. I was writing business plans for
Okay.
individuals. And after doing it, I realized that your business plan should be created by the business owner because those who get other individuals to create their business plans, they can't articulate their business.
So he was a ghostwriter. Go ahead.
They can't articulate their business, and that's not good. Because if I come to you and ask you questions about your business, and you're like, let me get back with you with that. I'm not quite sure. This is your business, isn't it? You should know everything front and backwards. Well, you won't know that if you didn't do the research. If somebody else did it and all you did was read it, you don't know how they got that information. How did they get there? Why did you choose these companies as your competitors, versus these? Who's your target audience? You can never say everyone is my target audience. There's nothing you're selling that everyone is your target
Correct.
audience except for air. I used to say that, but now you got somebody on an oxygen tank who don't need your air. So there's never gonna be
I like that.
someone who everyone needs your service. You
Right.
have to figure out who is your target audience. And so I realized that it just wasn't good writing people's business plans. So now I switched over into helping individuals create their own business plan and walking them through it. And so in 2017, I actually went to the Center for Women's Business Center. They had a grant. And so I went in, met with the director, sat down with her, and she said, you know what? You know more about business than I do. How about I hire you to help our women business owners and assist them? So I was like, well, maybe not hire, but you can contract. How about that?
Shout out
And
to that
so
entrepreneur.
that's how I really got into it. And through the Women's Business Center, I have consulted with over 1,000 businesses. During the pandemic, I've helped over 700 businesses get financing, assistance, just whether it was PPE, whether it was the EIDL, whether it was just local grants going on through the CRAs, just helping. So I will help you from inception, from if you have a thought. From there, I'll help you if you have a business, but you didn't quite start it correctly. And so now you have to go back and make some changes. Assist you with, I don't do taxes, but having an idea of what's the best entity for you to choose. Because some
Okay.
people jump on the, S corps are great. I want to have an S corp. They don't understand S corps. But everybody learned about S corps during the pandemic because all those people with S corps and you weren't doing your taxes right, you weren't paying yourself right, you were disqualified from
Right.
PPP.
Yep.
You were disqualified from the EIDL because you were an S corp, but you weren't acting like an S corp. You were acting like a sole proprietor. And so now, because you don't have those documents, you can't access the funds. So it's not just a fad. You got to understand what it means, and by what it means, what you have to do.
Okay.
So I assist people. I had private clients as well as the clients through the Women's Business Center. And now, big shout out to the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corporation.
Let's go. Shout them out.
Yes, the BBIC.
All right.
I'm the facilitator for their catch program in Tampa.
Okay. So we finna talk about the catch in a minute. But you said one thing. We're gonna shift to the catch because everything you throw out, I'm gonna let you just talk to the people about it. But you said, because you're teaching me, like you are really teaching me. You said about those S corps when you said the EIDL.
Yes.
What's that? What is that? I don't know what that is, and I don't want to be left behind. I want to understand.
You would throw me out there. The EIDL is the EIDL grants and loans come available during any type of pandemic, any disaster.
Okay.
So if there's a hurricane and Pinellas County is selected as a county where the disaster is, those EIDL loans automatically go into effect. Everybody knows it's EIDL. Everyone knows about it through the pandemic, but they've always been around. Because if you have any kind of economic injury, so economic injury disaster loan, I believe, any type of economic injury. So if a hurricane came, like how the ones came here, St. Pete was without power, Tampa was without power, and so you couldn't work. You lost income. Maybe you were contracted with the TROP, and the TROP is no longer operable. That was your main source of income. Now you've lost it. You would qualify for an EIDL loan.
If you cross your T's and dotted your I's.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to say, and that's what I want to push out to my people, to our people, is that even though you already got this created, even though you think you got it set up right, checks and balances. You have to have checks and balances. That's why we need to employ people as yourself with the services. And I talk about it all the time. With a great idea, to be great in life, there has to be a great investment. And we have to start making investments. One thing we did at what we're doing, that we set a budget thing at the beginning of the year, said we're gonna invest a minimum of $10,000 in our marketing and training this year, just for us. You know what I'm saying? But that's an investment that we know we need to make sure we're lined up correctly, that we're aligned with where we need to be. Because in Florida, we are going to have hurricanes. Right. We lose power we lost power this morning. We might need to try to get something for that. But seriously, if you have a business here, like you need to make sure you're in position for when we get affected and those EIDL comes out, the EIDL thing process lays out, that you're in position to benefit from it. You know, it's so much stuff that happened and we can have a benefit from it.
Let me tell you, during the pandemic, I lost 85% of my business income. Documented. I was on the news, okay? The news, the local news, talking about 85% of my income was gone, okay? Because during the pandemic, who was worried about, hey, I'm trying to do this with my business. Help me with a business plan. That was all out the window. So I had to survive on grants, loans, all those things. I got about $55,000, $60,000 in grants. Legally.
That's right.
Grants.
Say that again.
Legally.
That's the way to go.
Grants. And that means I did not have to pay it back. My tax account was like, girl, I should have hired you. You got all this money? I did not know all this was out there. Absolutely. If there was a grant, I was applying for it.
That's right. And you was aligned to get it.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
All my ducks were in a row. All my ducks were in a row. Anything you needed, I use QuickBooks. Oh, you need a P&L, which is a profit and loss? Let me go to QuickBooks and pull it. Here you go. Whatever you need, I got. I do my taxes every year. Whatever you need, I got it.
And a lot of us, we don't have that.
Right.
And we won't put the pride down to reach out and say, you know what? I don't have any of that. I don't have QuickBooks. I don't even track what I'm spending. I don't track my, nothing like and that's what I'm saying. It's time to put that aside. We have to utilize the gifts that God has put in our lives. And you are a gift.
And let me tell you, small business owners, you got to think ahead. If you know I'm trying to buy a house in the next 2-3 years, your taxes need to reflect you trying to buy a house in the next 2 to 3 years.
Mm.
You have to know what you're trying to do. If you're not trying to do anything, you're like, look, I got a house, got a car, I'm good. Then what your income is can be whatever it is. But if you know you're trying to do something, you're going to have to show that your business is making money. So you have to plan ahead. It's always, let me tell you, people will, I don't want to pay as much in tax.
Mm-hmm.
So on paper, it looks like my business makes $13,000 a year because I don't want to pay nothing in taxes. But now, hey, I got to go buy a house. You only make $13,000. How you going to get this $300,000 house?
For real. And that's the bare
And
minimum
now-
right now.
And now you're like, well, really, I make more than that. Well, your taxes say you make $13,000. So if you do a loan or a mortgage where you're going off of bank deposits, you got to be able to show that. You have to be able to, and if you don't deposit the money in your account
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to not, you got a safe at home and all of this, now you can't show that either, which means you're not able to do those things that you should be able to do. I met with a client of mine, a potential client, who had a business. He was trying to get the grant in Hillsborough County where it's $20,000 or $40,000. And he technically qualified for $40,000. But his tax returns said he didn't make enough for it because you had to make over $40,000 to qualify for even the base loan. He was showing he made $25,000. This man made $125,000 a year.
Lord, he's shutting the door on what he could be. Oh, my God.
He couldn't even qualify for the grant. And he didn't have enough time to actually go back
Mm-hmm.
and correct all those years' taxes. Because as you correct those taxes, the IRS is going to hit you with penalties. They're going to
Yes.
say, oh, we corrected this. Now you owe us money. So the money he would have got, he would have paid back to the IRS.
That's me because I owed the IRS $35,000. But I cleared that up. Thank you, Jesus. So, but it's just that's true. You owe something, then you get in a position to get something. It ain't no different than somebody win a scratch off and you go to cash it out, you forgot you owed $25,000 child support and you don't get nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you do get an opportunity to get something, you better make sure everything is clear
Right.
for you to get it. So listen, I don't want to give them no more. Because now we need them to act and respond to everything that you're giving them today. So, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you for coming. I am blown away. You have taken me to school. All of the information, contact information will be on the screen, and you can access her. You can access this. And I'm telling you, she said, just be over 18. It don't matter how long ago it was. If you need help getting in position to start that journey, man, y'all got to make that contact. Reach out, business owners. If you need help with a business plan, you definitely need help with positioning. If nothing else, a lot of us have business plan, but we're not positioned. And we got to understand it's about being positioned. One of the greatest, and I'm going to end it with this, and I'm going to let you say something to the audience. One of the greatest things, I love to read the Bible. And I read it for different reasons, but I believe in it totally. There's a story when Moses had a conversation with God, and he told God, I want to see your face. I want listen to this. Moses said, I want to see your face. And God told him that you can't see my face and live. But here's what I do. He said, you go up in the mountain. I am going to put you in the cleft of the rock. I'm going to position you. He said, and I'm going to make my glory pass by, and you won't see my face, but you will see my back. And what a lot of people don't get out of that story is, even though God wanted to show him part of what he wanted to see, he had to be in a certain position to see what he wanted to see. And that's so much bigger than spiritual talk. That's life. Businesses have to be in position if you want to see that piece of God go past you. If you want to see that amazing greatness in your business, that amazing greatness in your life, you have to be positioned correctly. That's what you do. Thank you for coming. I want you to close out and say something to her. And I want y'all to know, she was right. When she got ready to talk to y'all, I ain't had to say turn it to the camera. She dialed right in. So say something to your people, and we're going to close out of that.
Listen, I do what I do because it's in my heart. As I said, I'm from South Carolina, born and raised. I graduated from the University of South Carolina. Shout out to the Lady Gamecocks and Don Staley.
Shout
We
out
are
to them
gonna
gang.
win.
Old number one looking to go at it again.
Listen.
We rooting for it, too.
I know that's right. I graduated #1 in political science, but my minor is criminal justice. So I have always been fighting for criminal justice rights. I used to tutor inmates in prison, help them with GED prep. When and I'm gonna tell this story real quickly.
Go ahead.
I
It's your floor.
remember being at one of the maximum security prisons, and we're doing GED prep. We had more inmates than we had tutors, and the rule was you had to have 2 tutors per 1 inmate. We had so many that showed up, we couldn't do it. This older gentleman was in my class and myself. We said, you know what? Put them all at this table and we will work with them. And they're like, you sure? You should put them all at this table. We got guards all around with guns. Put them all at this table. We're going to work with them. And we tutored all of those. We had like 8 people at our table. We helped all of them. We helped them get their GED and we helped them be able to transition out of prison into careers. So this is something that is just near and dear to my heart. I left being self-employed to come back to work for Operation New Hope. That's how much it means to me.
Amen.
Although I'm not justice impacted, I'm an ally. And I believe in helping individuals get their life back together. You have to want it. You got to want it more than I do. And I know I want it so bad for every single person because I understand the plight that you're going through. But you have to take that first step and come to Operation New Hope. Give us a call. Let us look at your charges. Let us look at your record. Let us get you in this program and get you a job paying a living wage. Minimum wage is $13 right now. We're not placing anyone in jobs paying $13. Our goal is 16 and up. 16 and up. We have places that dishwashing positions that pay $19 an hour.
Let's go.
We are trying to place individuals in career type jobs with the city, with the county, with corporations. And no, not just the list. I know you see the list online that says these companies are felon friendly, but you got to understand what that means. Because many of those companies, if they have a person with a felony and a person without a felony for the same position, they're always going to go with the person without the felony. So most of the individuals applying with felonies never get in the door because the only way they're going to hire you is if they have no other option. So you can't just go by those lists. We have relationships with companies. Reach out. We can help you. Everything is free. We eliminate every excuse. The only thing we want to do is see you be successful and not go back to prison.
I promise I won't say anything after that. Hey, if you didn't know you care, you matter, you know now you matter. Fellas Ain't Failures Podcast, we out of here. All the information to be on the screen. Tap in. Let's begin the journey. Peace. We love you.
3, 2, 1, go!